Hello guys, this is the second episode of Node.js versus Ruby on Rails series. At the previous episode, I mentioned to you about the differences between some concepts which are Node.js, Express, Ruby on Rails. To recap, Ruby on Rails and Node.js are not something to compare because they're apples to oranges. They're completely different. Node.js is the name of the platform, as you can see, is a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. But Ruby on Rails is probably, as you know, it's a web framework. So if you want to compare similar terms about Ruby world and JavaScript world, you can compare Ruby on Rails to Express. Yeah. But as I mentioned at the previous episode, it's not even a fair comparison because you can compare Express.js with Sinatra. Yeah, it's a minimal web framework written in Ruby. But because of its popularity, everybody searches for differences between Ruby on Rails and Node.js. Okay, after some clarification, let's get our hands dirty. Now let's say you're a Rails developer and you heard of a lot of stuff about Node.js. It's so performant, it's async, Walmart is using it now, LinkedIn has just migrated from Ruby on Rails to Node.js and blah blah blah. So you wonder, what the heck is that? Okay, I'm here for you and I'm just going to try to walk you through while you want to learn some stuff about Node.js and Express. Okay, now I have my terminal here, and at the left side I have a Rails tab, and at the right side I have Node.js tab. Let's think we want to create just a block application. Probably you already watched DHH's block representation, which was recorded in, I guess, 2005, and recently he had another one, a new one. Here you can find it out on Rails website. Whatever. During this series I will try to make comparisons and create the almost same application with both Ruby on Rails and Node.js. Okay, I think you already know about RVM, right? RVM is the Ruby Environment Manager. RVM or RVM, this one. If you call yourself a Ruby on Rails developer and if you don't know about RVM or RVM, please just turn off this video and go to Google and learn about RVM or RVM. It's basically, it just lets you install different versions of Ruby. Let's see how it works. For example, now, as you can see, I'm using Ruby 2.3. If we say which Ruby, it's a bash command showing you to the location of the executable. As you can see, it's inside of my home directory and the RVM directory and rubies and blah 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 blah. But if you happen to not use RVM, you would see something like this, which Ruby user bin Ruby. Of course, if you use Mac, just like I do. Why do you use RVM? Because if you happen to use the system Ruby, which is pre-installed when you have your operating system macOS, it's fixed version, which is 2.0. If you don't use a Ruby environment manager, you're stuck at the exact same version, but you won't want it to happen because you will probably need to use different Ruby versions for different applications or projects. So you better use RVM or RVM. So if you already know RVM and if you've been already using that one, the first question you might have would be, so what is the RVM of Node.js? Okay, let me tell you, that's NVM. Yeah, RVM and NVM. It's called Node Version Manager. Its purpose and what it does is pretty much same as RVM. Let me show you. Currently, I have Node 4.4.3, and let's ask where is that executable stored on my machine. As you can see, it's inside my home directory .nvm versions and blah 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 blah. Just like RVM, we can install different Node.js versions. Let's say I want to install 0.11, and I can do just that. The installation process of Node.js is pretty straightforward, and it takes way more less time, and it's very easier to install comparing to Ruby, because when you install Ruby, it needs to compile and it takes some time. But as you can see, we just installed 0.11, and when I take a look at the version, now I'm using 0.11. So this is the first thing I can show you, because when I used to program in Ruby and when I used to create Rails projects, as a best practice, the first thing I was doing, creating a new gem set with RVM. I hope you know about that. If you don't know, please just learn about it. What I can tell you, NVM doesn't have gemset like concept, because in Node.js, when you install modules, it's like gems from Ruby. They're installed locally. You can also install them globally, but by default they are installed locally. Later in some episodes, I'm going to show you what does it mean exactly. But for now, I guess it's enough. See you in next episode. Bye bye.